Hello, my name is Trevor Cook. I'm an engineer in the Office of Nuclear Energy, and I'm responsible, among other things, for our nuclear cybersecurity R&D program. It's my pleasure to talk to you today about the call and how cybersecurity fits into our R&D plans, and I'm here to answer any questions you might have. First of all, we started our cybersecurity R&D program for obvious reasons. The nation's under attack. The world's under attack. And just in the last few months alone, there have been 13 separate cyber attacks on nuclear facilities around the world. Some of them serious. Very recently, in the last few days, Chernobyl was attacked and the operator data acquisition system was seized by cyber terrorists. So we have a real interest in protecting our nuclear infrastructure from these threats, and we are focusing our R&D into a very few areas that we think will yield the most benefit. We're looking at secure architectures. How do you design INC systems, control systems, so that they're cyber resilient, resistant, and can persevere through an attack? How do you control the supply chain? How do you make sure that the part that you bought from the vendor you bought it from does what it's supposed to do and has what it's supposed to have and nothing extra? We need modeling and simulation capabilities so that we can better understand the effects of cyber attacks on our INC systems. And last but certainly not least, we need to be better about sharing information about the nature of threats and vulnerabilities, and we need to be much better about our training and education so that the next generation of designers don't think about cybersecurity as an add-on, but as an inherent quality in the components that they're designing. So what we're asking the community to do for us today is to work in that modeling and simulation area. What we don't have and what we really need are tools that designers and operators can use to assess the impacts of making upgrades or changes to their instrumentation and control systems. Right now, it's sort of a seat of the pants thing. You know you have an old system, you need it replaced, you replace it. You do an assessment on the vulnerabilities of the new system as best you can, but what we'd really like to have is a modeling and simulation capability where we can put the circuit boards, put the instruments, put the controls, put the whole system through an environment where we model it, where we simulate attacks, where we look at vulnerabilities, and we look at outputs to see, can we fail in a safe state or not fail at all? So that's what we're looking for from the research community, is a modeling and simulation system that can look at an individual circuit, a circuit board, a system, and reliably ferret out the performance of that circuit board system under a cyber attack. So it'll help assess vulnerabilities, it'll help assess performance during an attack. That's what we're looking for. It's kind of a tall order. Not a lot of people have worked in this area, but we think it's an important building block in having a reasonable and responsible response to the cyber threat. And that's all I have to say about that.
So we have Steve Hartenstein on the line. He's the technical point of contact who can answer any additional questions. Please submit your questions directly to the question box on your GoToWebinar app. Steve, are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Right. Okay, I'm here just as a backup for Trevor.
Okay. Trevor, can you return to slide number 2? We don't have any questions right now. We will hold on the line for the next minute or so. So please input your questions now if you have them.
Well, I think I articulated it so well. There shouldn't be any need for questions. Wouldn't you agree, Steve?
Of course, Trevor. And it's a big open wide field and there's a lot to do. So a lot falls within the scope.
Yeah, Steve, you're a little muffled. It's a little bit difficult to hear you. So we do have a question. It's mentioned on slide 2 that training is of interest. Can you expand a little bit more on what you mean by that?
So what we would like to happen is in the course of pursuing this modeling and simulation goal is that you think about how you would feed that back into your curriculum, how you would use the work that you're doing to teach the next generation of students. That's what we're talking about here.
Drew, am I coming across clear now?
Yes, that's much better.
Okay, so in addition to the feedback into the cyber education, we would be interested in modeling and simulation tools as they could also be applied to training operators or training researchers.
I don't know about anybody else, Stephen, but I couldn't hear what you said at the end.
So the training goes, if possible, beyond just education. It would be possibly a modeling and simulation tool that could be used in eventual future plant simulators as part of training operators.
Are there any additional workforce development activities that are acceptable for the scope?
What we're really looking for is modeling and simulation in this scope. We want these tools. As a secondary benefit, we want them to be applicable to and part of training and education. So as far as workforce development goes, yes. If in the course of developing these tools, you can use them to train operators, designers, whatever, in understanding the cyber threat and the nature of their own systems and components and what their vulnerabilities might be and their resiliences might be, then yes, that should be part of your application.
Are you interested in new cybersecurity methods and tools that have found applications in other areas like the power grid?
Yes, of course.
Is the topic more on control, or could there also be system testing?
Well, if you mean I'm not sure if they're talking about experiments, but experiments are definitely part of this, if that's what they're talking about when they say system testing. You need to build your model, and you need to, verify it and validate it against actual performance of systems.
Okay, thank you, Trevor. Thank you, Steve. It looks like those are all the questions that we have.
Thank you.
There is one more. Okay, it just came in. For NE-1, can the modeling and simulation apply to non-reactor nuclear facilities, i.e. enrichment or fuel fabrication facilities?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Anywhere in the nuclear enterprise. It can be for research reactors. It could be for fuel fab. It could be for waste disposal.
Can you elaborate more on the risk management portion of the scope?
Well, the purpose of having the modeling and simulation capability is so that people can understand their risk and thus manage it. You can't really manage a risk if you don't know what it is and if you don't have tools to assess it.
Is there a way to submit a proposal that would test the cybersecurity of an existing nuclear plant?
It's a modeling and simulation. So if your proposal is you're going to model and simulate a particular feature of a particular plant and then test that, I think we should test it maybe through simulation, not in a live plant. But yeah, I mean, why not? Absolutely.
Okay, those are all the questions. Thanks to both of you. This concludes the second day of the CINR webinar. We will be returning tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern Time. Please tune in there for the FC1, which are the materials recovery and waste form work scopes.